Hello everyone. Thanks Michael so much for the opportunity about what happened to me today. And here more than happy to talk about my project 2 assessment. After my training, I just came from training and back into my obligations as a student. So I'll be talking about specifically a type of bass that is very well known in the genre of drum and bass, and it is called the Reese bass. And I will be talking about the most important things about this type of bass, the history and how it was created and how we can make it, and also a few tracks for you to listen how a Reese bass sounds, and also how it has influenced different type of music genre, not only drum and bass but also dubstep, house, minimal house. So let's get going and I'm gonna show you. As you can see here, so this is my first slide, and as you can see, my first sentence is why bass, and there is a reason why I choose that. It is because for drum and bass, which is one of my topics from the genealogy tree, is a genre that I want to specialize in producing music, at least up to now, is drum and bass. So drum and bass has a very specific type of beat and BPM. The BPM range from 168 to 176, 74, and it's very fast paced. And it's a set of drums, snares, and hi-hats, what a drum and bass song will have in the drum kit. However, I think this is my personal opinion, is that what really makes drum and bass more special, it is the type of bass it uses. I think it's very immersive and it is very strong, and it, at least to me and for people who have listened to this type of music, the bass really gives them drive and inspiration and a lot of emotion. It is the bass. Of course, the type of kick, snare, and drum pattern also gives rhythm, and it's like the drums in drum and bass is like the canvas for the producer to lay out the rest of the instruments. Out of the drum and the bass is more interesting and has a lot of room for creation and variation. Okay, so let's go for the next slide. So I chose two different definitions from two different websites that I have cited at the end as a reference. But as you can see here, noiseengineering.us has a definition for what Reese bass is. So it is defined as a type of sound often found in bass music. It is big wobbly sounding thing that's often used for bass lines, low melodies, or as a sort of bassy pad. It's really interesting type of sound that often sounds deceptively complex, which is true. A Reese bass is a sound that is most commonly used in drum and bass genre, but also dubstep and nowadays bass house. The reason why Reese is so interesting is because of the phase cancellation to the tune waveforms cause, creating a continuous sound that is modulating itself. When you take two waveforms that are in sync and phase, final sound will simply be louder. But when you detune them, they will interfere with each other. In theory, it is very straightforward, but the concept is to create complex sounds by resampling and layering resounds, thus making it even more interesting. Okay, so let's go on to our next slide, which we're gonna talk about how this type of bass got its name from. So Reese, why it is called Reese bass. Okay, so as we can see in this slide, we're gonna go through some historical key points. So as we can see here, the Reese bass got its name from an influential producer and DJ, Kevin Saunderson's side project moniker Reese. So in 1988, he dropped a really cool song actually that I'm gonna play for a little bit so we can listen to for the first time what a Reese bass sounds like. And this song is like when he used it for the first time before it was popular. It became popular. So we're gonna have a listen now. The name of the song that I'm gonna play is called Just Want Another Chance. So this is just the beginning of the song. Let's forward to 16. Here. My speakers have very loud hi-hats, so I don't know if you could hear the bass on this song, but hopefully yes. Otherwise, we'll have more examples in the incoming slides. So unfortunately, the bass that he used in this song that I just played, it just went on to be unrecognized, and it was not until another DJ producer played this song and sampled it, and I'm gonna show who he was, that this type of bass became very addictive for the EDM consumers. So you can see here who he is. So I'm gonna show you here on the picture who the creator of the Reese bass was. I'm gonna flip it. So there he is. Here is Kevin Saunderson, and he was the one who played this song before, and he created this bass. So it was not until Ray Keith, here from this picture I have here, he was the DJ producer who sampled his song, and the rest is history. After he used this song sample, and especially the Reese bass, from there all the drum and bass producers and DJs started to chase what this bass was, how this sound was around from before and was not like really discovered and used. And the people who really enjoy jungle music, drum and bass, and techno, where they were really looking for this type of bass, and that's why it became so popular. So it was in high demand by the consumers, the listeners, as well as the DJs. They really like the effect on that. So in a nutshell, we have Sanderson, who created the song using the Reese bass for the first time. At that time, it was not called Reese bass. It was just a bass sound that Sanderson used, and then it was forgotten until a few years later. Keith resampled the song using the Reese bass. People really liked it. Maybe he was more popular. He played it more and I'm in the right place. And then it boomed. From there, it just flourished. Okay, so on my next slide, we're gonna see how this bass is created. He's using a plugin that is not stock in Ableton. However, the principle of creating a Reese bass applies for any DAW or any other plugin, Serum and all of that. So what we're gonna do is listen to a bit of the video to see how he creates it, and we can understand the basis and the foundation of the sound, how it is made.
Alright, so here's how to make this Reese bass, which is kind of a dark, facey, wide bass. Start with the saw wave, oscillator 1 with 8 voices, and turn down the detune to around 15%. And turn it down to octaves. Holding shift and left click. As you can hear, we only want one note to be played at the same time. So just turn down voices to 1. And turn on legato and turn up the glide to make it glide between notes. Now we can turn up the release a bit to around here, 0.8. And next, what actually makes the sound is the filter.
As you can see, this is a very nice bass and it's very attractive for the ears, and it adds a lot of power to, I guess, to any song or music we make. We just need to experiment more and try to see all the opportunities to use it more, because it really sounds really good. So I sort of mentioned before how the Reese bass has influenced different type of EDM music. So the genres that most has been influenced more commonly has been the drum and bass, liquid drum and bass, dubstep, modern wave trap, house music, minimal techno, and minimal house. Okay, so how can we create a Reese bass using Ableton Live? So we have a few options. We can use wavetable, operator, and we can also become very creative. We can combine and create with analog, for example, the analog synth. We can use the LFO on the envelope, filter, amp, pitch, and we can play with those parameters and create with purpose. We move the parameters and we can create a Reese bass. Now, out of Ableton stock, there are some plugins, and the best one, most used outside Ableton plugins, is Serum. All right, so now we can move to our next slide, and how we can see here, I have 3 samples. One is dubstep, the other one is liquid drum and bass, and the other one is minimal tech house. And the 3 songs are amazing. The first one is by Boris Brecha, Up Down Jumper. The other one is by Mix Mag, Half Wilkinson and Subfocus, playing in some castle ruins. I forgot the name, but they do a live performance there. It is amazing. You should check it out on YouTube, the full set. It's really cool. And then we have a dubstep song in there we were gonna listen, and they all 3 are using the Reese bass, and it's very easy to pick it up. So let's jump in. We have 3 musical examples, and we're gonna go through the first. So Up and Down Jumper by Boris Brecha. Here we go. It's such an amazing instrument, and it is because you can use it as like a very short bass, very short, like it's not a plug, like a plug bass, but you can use it like a very short 1-2 second bass to create more dynamics into the song, as opposed to have a very long note that repeats itself as a long bass note. Okay, that's very cool. Let's move on to the next one. It's so good that I just get carried away listening to this. It's so good. All right, let's go. So here we have our next song. It's called Eyes on Fire by Sets That Remix.
I won't ease your strain. I seek you.
Here we go. All right, so I hope you like it and learn something about this type of bass, and hopefully you are encouraged to implement what you learned today, and now you know how to look for it. Reese bass. There's plenty of YouTube tutorials on how to get it sound right, and you start using it in your songs and enjoying it. Okay, here we go. These are my references. And there you go. Thank you.